It's showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
A fine Saturday morning to you, gents.
That's what I missed last week. Steve, that was it.
What? No. We had a great time without him. What are you talking about?
You're right.
We
We
didn't
did,
need that.
but he's here now,
Wow.
Steve, and I'm
I know,
trying to make good.
I retract my greeting.
You can greet
I
us.
feel
We appreciate the greeting, but no, we didn't miss that at all.
We didn't.
It was
miss it at all.
fine.
Oh, shh! I'm sorry. I forgot.
It was. It's
Wow.
nice to have, but
It's all
we're
fine.
fine. We're all
We're
fine.
fine.
Oh, I'll just kick it off with meh.
Okay.
There
Did
go.
you even listen to the show? Do you care about it?
I did listen to the
We did.
show. Of
We
course
did
I care.
okay, right?
I was on pins and needles. What would you guys pick for our options for the list?
It turns out we can't be trusted. That
No,
is a
we
horrible
can't.
mistake,
That's-
and I regret
that is
every
true.
second of it. We need
That
parental
is true.
supervision.
I guess that implication is that I'm the parent of this
I
podcast.
guess.
Andy, our behaviors thus far should indicate that. You don't need any further evidence. You are the parent.
I guess I am the one who talks about budgets on a
Yes.
regular basis.
We need the coronavirus sanity check, please.
My daughter has decided that I have to watch season 3 of Stranger Things because it's her favorite season. She
Yes.
loves it because there's a Russian guy that she just loves. And so we started watching that. We're like 5 episodes in, so we're about halfway through. And because I was like, after season 2, I'm like, I don't need to watch any more of this show.
Andy.
It kind of fell apart.
Sweet Andy.
No, and it's fine so far. I'm not really into it, but it's okay. I think it's fine. I think they're doing an okay job. I'm curious to see where it goes. I think they've built an interesting world, at least. I will give them that. You guys don't like my reaction so far.
One, I think we just need to note that you hadn't watched Stranger Things season 3 yet, and I think that's both Steve and I. Our initial reaction
Yes.
was, Andy.
Well, that came up.
I
A
know,
while
but
I
it
know.
still deserves to be shunned and ridiculed.
Again, Andy proves he's the dad of the podcast. Oh, these things for kids. I'll get around to it. I got budgets to work on.
And second, that
That's
you
right.
get through episode 5 and you still haven't commented on how wonderful the production design is at bringing you back to the 80s in the mall.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it looks like a mall.
Oh,
It looks like a mall.
I've worked on projects where we made 80s looking malls. It's not that hard.
oh my God.
And all the retired architects of the 80s say, Andrew Nelson!
I just can't believe that such an opportunity would come up for me to say the following. Weird flex, but okay.
Yeah, I build 80s malls all the time. I got one in my backyard.
You should have seen my 80s mall. What about you, Steve? What have you been up to this week?
We hit a milestone in this household. So today has been a bit of a technology challenged day. I've had several Zoom meetings and things were glitching out. So I went and checked and I saw that for the first time ever in the history of our relationship with Cox Cable, we hit our data limit.
Wow.
So we have used 1,027 gigabytes of data since March 26th. So my cycle ends April 25th. So I got 2 more days here. But to give you the trend, December 26th to January 25th, 790. I mean, we're still 20% below,
Yeah.
but it's the holidays, lots of streaming.
Sure.
January 26th to February 25th, 635.
Yeah.
February to March, 784. We're trending well below. All of a sudden, boom, I hit the ceiling. I'm in the red, data used. They're probably throttling things, but I think this is the ripe opportunity to say, hey, Cox, I'm forced to stay at home. You're not going to charge me for going over my data because I have no choice.
Yeah.
Didn't they say that they weren't charging for
I
that?
thought
They may not
Xfinity
charge
I
me.
thought that already
did.
came out.
They may not be charging. I'll see on my next bill, but clearly things are being throttled. And because I have work meetings, my daughter's got dance class and Zoom meetings, and my other daughter's got college, exams and tests and classes and all that. So I instituted, because we do have the unlimited data plan on the little devices, of if you're going to stream Netflix, turn off the Wi-Fi on your device and use your data.
That is a weird turn of events right
Yes, it is. But yeah, I was in a meeting at 3 o'clock and all of a sudden I couldn't understand anybody. So I'm hoping that we get through today just fine. But I've got 2 days, which means I'll be watching lots of stuff on the small screen the next couple of days, probably.
Wow.
But it was something that...
And when you say the small screen, you mean the small
Yes,
screen. You don't
small
mean
screen.
just the small screen.
Yes, the teeny screen. And it's something that for, years I'd looked at that and thought, now maybe we're streaming a little bit more. Still never even got close to that threshold.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden today, I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of
Crash
streaming
through
going
the
on.
barn doors.
Well, when you get,
Yeah.
we do things in this household like, shamefully, I have to admit, we binged through Too Hot to Handle on Netflix.
Obviously, we found the hottest, horniest, commitment-phobic swipesters.
It's trash. It's complete trash. It's wonderful trash. It's horrible. It's a horrible 8 episodes of just, wow, yeah, that was a show.
There's probably good reason why they've always made a door like that, why that's usually the way it is. But what if it wasn't?
You know what I watched? I watched Home. It's another Apple TV Plus show. You know me and my Apple TV Plus.
Is that the sequel to House?
It is not. No, that's Avenue 5. No, this is Home, and it is
right.
it's a show. It's a home show. It's Apple's answer to a home show, and of course, it is wildly pretentious. I mean, wildly, extraordinarily pretentious. But I'll tell you, some crazy cool building projects that they have going on, and it's beautifully produced. It is just gorgeous, so is it worth checking out? Watch the trailer for sure. You should watch the trailer, and maybe that'll be all you need.
So you say it's ripe for cross promotion with Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop? Is that sort of the level of pretentious and disconnectedness we're dealing with?
I would absolutely not want to be somebody to say that out loud.
Okay. Done.
They do build an amazing, like they show you the process of like, here's a family in Sweden and the father's an engineer and the family is fantastic. And they had a perfectly good house that he built from out of his hands, and there's no nails used in the house, and it's this beautiful house, but that house wasn't good enough. So he had to build a greenhouse on top of it. And now it's a nature house. So you walk through the greenhouse and there's like this 10-foot like place around the entire house, is a shell of a greenhouse where just trees are growing. And it has extended their living season, months and months into winter, where they can have like fresh grapes, tropical fruits and things that are growing outside the windows of their Swedish log cabin house. And it's very cool and so pretentious. So it's great.
Okay.
It's great. Yeah. If you're into home shows, you can do worse.
Sounds like the first world problems type of show.
It is extraordinary first world. You want to go to? Let's go to.
My new house isn't
It's not
quite enough. I need to build a greenhouse around my new house.
I need to vacuum seal myself away from the elements. It's a very Apple thing to do. Can I just do one coronavirus related story? And then I promise I won't talk about anything else. We can do trailers and we won't do anything else.
Yeah.
So this whole thing about Georgia wanting to reopen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is tricky because so much of the entertainment sort of budgets and tax credits, they're all around shooting in Georgia. Walking Dead, one of the very big shows that is shot there. And as the governor is racing to reopen everything, people are saying this is too soon. Even theater owners are saying too soon.
Yes.
Too soon. I had the opportunity to do a couple of podcasts with some folks who were saying that, with some experts in the field talking about particularly business owners. And I thought this was a great perspective that people will return to the public when they feel like it's safe to go back to work. And that's a really important metric. When employees go to their bosses and say, it's safe for me to get in my car and come to the office, then they will feel okay going to movie theaters, going to the grocery stores, and it's going to take a long time to do that. And I think we're about to see that collision with the entertainment business. I think you can open the doors wide open in words, and I don't think people are ready to show up. I mean, tell me when you guys are going to be ready to go sit in a movie theater. And you guys are, alpha moviegoers. Well, I mean, you'd go now. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd go. I mean, if I was going, and theoretically, I'd be hopefully the only one there.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well,
I'd be totally okay with that.
I mean, I may go. I missed it this weekend because Harkins opens up to allow you to buy their popcorn on the weekend. Several of the locations are open up, so
It's a
they know
great
that
idea.
you can have your popcorn, so you can enjoy the movies at home with their popcorn.
And so, what do they sell it in? Just like big bags?
Oh, yeah,
Or do
they-
you bring your bucket?
They always have.
No, they always
yeah.
have the big bags that you can buy for, I think it's like $10 or whatever, sort of the party size. But they're basically, I guess, on Friday, Saturday, at least this past Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they were open at several of their locations if you wanted to drive up curbside, buy your popcorn to take home for the weekend. So
Here's a part of the business I do not understand at all. If you guys do, I would love to be educated. What does it look like for a movie to be like, or for a theater or a chain to contract a movie? Do they pay up front, or do they pay a portion of each ticket, or what does that mean? How does that work? Like, are they on the hook for movies when the theater is closed?
There is a fee that movie theaters. I mean, there's contracts that they have with studios. We're contracted to show X number of copies of this movie. And this is a thing that's been coming up with Disney lately, especially with some of their big tent poles. The fact that you have to play this movie, like Rise of Skywalker, I think was one. It has to be on the biggest screen. It has to be on this many screens or this percentage of your screens. And it has to be on those for this long. And a lot of smaller movie houses have issues with that. But anyway, that's not the question. So there's that element to it. And then as far as the percentage of ticket sales, at least back when I was in college working at a movie theater, there was a tier. And the first week of a movie playing, the movie theater would only get like something like 20% of the sales, say. And then the studio would get, or the distributor would get the other 80%. And then, of course, they're sorting that out between them and the studios and everyone else. And then the longer it plays, the more that percentage moves to a 50-50 split. And so it eventually hits a point where the studios, I think, were probably at a point where they started realizing, why have this playing in a theater anymore when we can just pull it from the theaters and get it out on different forms of distribution so we can make more money off it quicker. That's how the model used to be. And I'm assuming it's somewhat similar. I'm assuming, though, it's vastly more complex than it was, 30 years ago.
We should talk to Paul again. It's been a long time since we've had old Paul DeGarabedian on. He should come and explain that. Need a little lesson from Uncle Paul.
Yeah, I'm curious because it used to be that, you could go online to buy your tickets and you could do it, relatively in advance. And it seems like, at least with Harkins here and Andy, it seems like sometimes it's like Tuesday and I'm like, I want to, for like Film Board, when can I get my ticket for this show that's coming out Friday? And it's like Tuesday, it's like Wednesday. And I'm like, you don't know what you're putting on your screens yet. And I assume that now digital has made that easier because there's no, cans to ship. So it's like, well, it's sitting here. We know we're playing it. It's how many screens are we going to keep this one on? So I think there's some calculations and a lot more flexibility to look at even through Wednesday to say, are we going to keep this on all the screens that it's on? Are we going to reduce it? But it's just, for me, as a, what somebody that likes to buy their tickets in advance, it gets exceedingly frustrating to not know. We experienced that with Guns Akimbo. Is this going to show up in theaters or not? We may not know till the day of.
Yeah, they used to be pretty reliable as far as getting the new schedules put together. I think Tuesday usually was the deadline, getting it out by end of day Tuesday. But it does seem like sometimes they're pushing that a little bit, and certainly nowadays it's getting more complex with so many things starting that much earlier now. When Thursday nights at 7:00 is the new premiere time for things. So that's wacky times. The DGA has tapped Steven Soderbergh and some other directors to lead a committee on how directors should resume getting back to making movies when COVID-19 kind of settles a little bit. They're working with scientists, unions, people in Hollywood, and everything. And I think it's really funny that Soderbergh was tapped. I'm guessing purely because he directed Contagion.
Yeah.
I think people are like, he made a movie about this that
terrible.
seemed to be pretty smart. Let's get him on board. Anyway, so he's leading this, and as it sounds, they're saying September is probably when we can start working on projects again. But I do have to say, when all of this was announced in, I think it was in Variety earlier this week or late last week, it was very funny because Variety posted this, and then Ryan Reynolds immediately tweeted because, it's Ryan Reynolds. He tweeted back to Variety saying, I played a medical student in the 1998 sitcom Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. Let me know if you need my help.
Who poured you a double mocha grumpy this morning?
That Two Guys and a Girl. There's. Do you guys watch that show?
Oh, yeah. We were diehard fans of that.
Nope.
And then it sort of went off the rails.
Then it went away. And now it
Yeah.
is one of the shows that you have to question. Did that exist?
Yeah.
Was that a real show? Was that a thing?
No, because Ryan Reynolds.
I don't even remember.
We remember that.
Like that title, I was like, I haven't even heard of that show before.
Because it was Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. And then they changed
Two Guys and a Girl.
Two Guys and a Girl. And then, because we're huge fans because Ryan Reynolds did a hilarious Shatner impersonation that he would do on there that we were like, we love this guy.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, that was worth it.
It's one of those that's lost to the ages.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not even, it wasn't even like, it was the late night. It was 98 when that came out.
The
So,
late 90s were also kind of the lost years. They have been enveloped by Y2K, I guess, or something, because nobody, who talks about the late 90s as a thing? Like, if you were born in 1998, it's practically a leap century.
Leap century,
decade,
wow.
Maybe just
That's a whole
round it up to
century.
2000.
Or maybe
Round it up. I'm just saying, maybe 1898 would serve you better.
Did you guys watch this one?
No.
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark?
No.
One?
No.
I didn't either, but I'm
that
curious
come
about
out?
it. My daughter...
Was that released? Is that the one that was based on
that came out like last Halloween.
That was the one that was based on those kids' books from like the 90s, right? Yeah. Okay.
Was it the late 90s? Because maybe that's why I never saw it.
My daughter, I wanted to take her to it, and then she went and saw it with her friends. She's at that age.
Oh.
And so I didn't get to see it. And I'm really curious about it because she's like, oh, it's so awesome. You got to see it, Dad. And so I'm still really curious about it. But I just saw that they're making a sequel. And so that kind of got me excited. And I know that Andre Overdahl and Guillermo del Toro was, I think, producing it. So I don't know. I'm curious about the first one, and I'm definitely curious about this remake now, or this sequel now. It looked super creepy.
Andy,
so.
I don't know anything about that, but what I do know is that you had pledged to us that you would run a little sociological entertainment experiment at your house related to your daughter, and I would very much like to hear a follow-up. Did you get her addicted to Quibi?
Okay, so follow-up. I forgot that this was a thing until I looked in the notes and I saw, I was supposed to do that. So I did talk to her about it. We did get the app on her phone. I have not set up an account yet, but I will work on this.
Excellent. That's great.
So that I can start finding out how quickly I can get her addicted to watching Quibi.
That's what we're shooting for.
That's the whole thing. Who is the Quibi market? Will a 13-year-old just get sucked right in and start watching it?
Yeah, because I hear there's a great and adorable, was it Anna Kendrick show where she and her best friend, a sex doll. I think it's perfect for your daughter. Just go ahead. Yeah. It's going to be great.
That's my concern. Yeah. That's my concern. Yeah. I got to watch for those parental controls on Quibi. I don't know if they have.
Are you kidding? They can't. They spend all their money on talent. They can't afford parental controls.
That's right. They want everybody to watch them. They don't care what age.
This is turning into
just put it in front of your infant and just put it on loop. They won't care. It just counts as a view.
That's all they care about. It's a click. I think this is becoming our a standard segment, the Quibi update, and I'm excited about that. I think we need a theme song. Let's do trailers.
This looks like my kind of thing, right?
Wait. Does it have teenagers in it?
Yes, it does. It totally does. I was like, okay. And then I watched the trailer and I was going along and I was like, okay, this is an interesting thing. And then I read the plot description on IMDb and I thought, I didn't get this out of the trailer. Did I miss something? Am I just an old man that didn't pick up on the clues that this is a story of a transgender teenage girl on summer vacation in Los Angeles who's fighting to survive after she falls in with 4 queer feminist vampires who tried to rid the city streets of predatory men?
What?
Yeah, exactly.
I got quite a bit of that.
Okay, because
there's quite a bit of that in the trailer.
I got the don't turn men into vampires thing because they can't handle dealing, being powerful.
That's just that's not even news anymore. That's axiomatic.
Right. And then the fact that they were vampires and they wanted to maybe call themselves Bite Club, which I thought was, a nice little chuckle.
Or the Bit Girls.
The Bit Girls. That sounds like a STEM thing.
Sounds like a STEM thing. That's actually, I think that's the first time I've heard STEM used derogatorily in a feminist film.
Yes, exactly.
Now would be the time for any questions.
Were you guys like
Vampires?
Yup. Do you guys kill people?
Indiscriminately.
Innocent people?
It's like 80-20.
It's from writer-director Brad Michael Elmore, who I'd never heard of, and he's done 2 other films. One of them that I'm very curious to see is 2018's Boogeyman Pop, which is the story of a bat-wielding, baseball bat-wielding, masked killer in a rusted-out black Cadillac, weaving in and out of 3 interlocking stories awash in sex, drugs, punk rock, black magic, and broken homes, with a solid 4.6 on IMDb based on 47 reviews. 47.
Not even Mom.
People aren't seeing his. People aren't even see, and Bit has 75 reviews total. So people apparently don't get out to see his stuff that often. But there was something about this one. Haven't seen a good vampire film in a while. Or it reminded me of let's reboot Lost Boys with girls.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought exactly that. And
right.
There's some of that.
There's definitely some of that. There's also, what was the Wicca one that was super popular with
The Craft?
The Craft, yeah. The Craft.
Yeah.
It had some The Craft kind of in it, and sassy vampire girls, and I'm going to be 18 for life, if that's a bad thing. At that point, and it had all of those pieces. I wasn't surprised you picked it. I'm also not surprised it hasn't cleared 6.8 or 6 points on the IMDb scale.
No. So it has a release date of April 4th. So I think this is one of these that who knows where it's showing up or when on this, but I would not be surprised to see this if it's not already available on Amazon or iTunes or someplace already, that it skipped theaters and went to straight to digital. But that is my pick for this week. Bit.
Andy?
All right. My trailer, I went with one that it looks like it could be an okay biopic. We'll
could
see.
Be okay.
It could be. Well, it's funny. I watched the trailer and I'm like, okay. And then I looked down into the YouTube, the comments from YouTubers, and somebody says something about how it's interesting that they chose to make him look just like the with the same age makeup that they did for Biff in Back to the Future 2. And I was like, they're not too far off from that. It is a biopic called Capone. And I picked it for a couple of reasons. One, Tom Hardy's in it, and he's always interesting. I always find him to be a really fascinating actor. And playing Al Capone, I'm like, that could be really kind of fun to see what he does with the role. Plus, Linda Cardellini, Kyle MacLachlan, Matt Dillon, just some other interesting names that I have seen and enjoy. And so I'm like, okay, I could really find myself enjoying this film. Who knows? And then I see it's directed by Josh Trank, written and directed by Josh Trank. I love Chronicle. I think that's a fantastic film. Fantastic Four. You know what?
Even Josh Trank didn't like Fantastic Four. That's settled science.
His review of his own movie that he posted on Letterboxd made that movie worth it. Just the fact that he was willing to rewatch his movie and give it his own thoughts, serious thoughts. I'm like, you know what? I like that about this guy, and I respect that. Is Capone going to be another Fantastic Four, or could it lean toward what he pulled off with Chronicle? I just don't know. But I love Capone. I love the idea of this character. I love the idea of this story about Al Capone after he's released from his 11-year sentence in the pen. And now he has syphilis, he has dementia, and he's kind of losing track of who he is. And it's a lot of like him kind of flashing back and kind of reliving what his past was like, all the violence and everything. I'm like, there's something interesting in that. I think it could be kind of cool. And it's a story about Al Capone I haven't heard. So it definitely piqued my curiosity.
Do you know what the difference is between Adolf Hitler and Al Capone? Hitler's dead. Capone lives like a king in Florida.
He has full-blown dementia.
I have reason to believe it could all be an elaborate act.
What's this about?
We have information that your client may have tucked away a very large sum of money.
I can drop the act now.
You got goons walking around.
So, Pete, do you remember what we said about Tom Hardy last week?
Do tell.
What was our list last week? It was like silent or quiet performances, and we said Tom Hardy just can't. From this trailer, it looks like he maybe does, because he says very few words in this trailer. Yeah. And I thought, is this Tom Hardy's quiet movie?
It might be.
I don't know.
You guys said that, and I'm like, Mad Max Fury Road, come on.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
And I think you could even make a case that Dunkirk was kind of in that vein.
Sure.
That's because he was in a plane. He had no one to talk to except the other
if that's
radio
what it takes.
operator.
Look, I'm just saying, I think you can pick like this just to me, it just screams of a very strange part of Capone's life. That story had better be something else, because I just don't know that the feds, listening in to a geriatric, post-stroke victim, ex-con is that interesting. Like, just let the guy live out his life. So I don't know anything. Obviously, I don't know anything about Capone's later years. But what stands out for me, I mean, for Tom Hardy, let's just, in all seriousness, like, name a terrible Tom Hardy movie. It's hard for me to do. Like, even, Child 44. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Fine. It turns out it was easier than sadly, it was easier than I expected. But I can't go any further than that.
But it wasn't horrible because of him.
Right. Thank you.
Child 44. And I think that's the piece. So I'm intrigued, because there's a couple things that first they said, well, he's hidden it. I'm like, well, I know it's not in the vault because Geraldo's proved that to us. But it's the idea of, is he faking it? Yeah. And so there's that creates the potential for some dramatic irony in there of what the Fed's seeing is there's some other plot going on. And that's enough to lure me into this. Because, Pete, I was right there with you of like, what's really compelling about this story? And given that it's Tom Hardy doing something maybe a little bit different, and the fact that there is that potential dynamic to the story, I'm going to give this one a shot.
I will too.
All right.
So when can I do that, Andy, and how?
I'll take that as a win. Very soon. As of now, I guess, they're considering it an internet release May 12th. Okay. So potentially this could be another option for film boarding if the cards play right. So, yeah, coming up just a few weeks away.
Well, I've got one that is also about a horrible thing happening in families' lives. This should be great.
That's a great setup. Tell me more.
Would you like to see Imogen Poots and Alex Wolff struggle with opioid addiction with his mom, Neve Campbell? If that doesn't just scream, you're old, gentlemen. Neve Campbell is the drug-addled mom.
She's the Ellen Burstyn of this Requiem for a Dream.
Exactly, Steve. That's exactly it.
That is so true.
That's what lured her in. It's like, hey, you want to be the Ellen Burstyn of this film? She's like, sign me up. I'm all aboard for that.
Party of opioids.
Yes.
But anyway, here's the thing. Look, this is not a trailer I enjoyed watching because it's a story that I don't enjoy watching. It looks like it's going to be a tough one to watch, but I can tell you that I am a big fan of the young and talented Alex Wolff and Imogen Poots, and I'm a party of five crusher right there. I'm a fiver, and so yeah, I watched that show, and Neve Campbell was. She was great. So I'm a big fan of All of the People, and this looks like a movie that I think is going to tell a story. The trailer, I think, does gift us with some really powerful images. I think the mask, the baby's mask, is an incredibly strong message during that robbery. There's a lot of just stuff going on in here that I think is gonna pose a lot of questions. When I look at writer-director Joey Klein, is also behind, Known For, We're Still Together, The Vow, The Other Half. These are movies, What Keeps You Alive, Through Black Spruce. I have not seen any of those movies. He was acted in those movies. The Other Half, Waterloo, Waiting for You. I don't know those movies. So I haven't seen anything, which makes it all that much easier to check this one out. It's a 6.8 already on the IMDb.
At first I was thinking it must be a sequel to Castle in the Sky. It's like, where's the next castle going to be?
Castle in the Lake.
Castle in the Fire.
It hit the festival circuit late last year, and it is scheduled for an internet release on May 15th. So it's another one that could very well be a film border if we are interested in that. But 106 votes on IMDb, 6.8. Even Mom thought this one should jump over that particular rail. So.
Hello, Doctor. I heard you praying again this morning.
Yeah.
You praying for your mother to get better? You don't have to worry, baby. I'm going to be fine.
Hannah, open up.
What is going on? Where'd you get this?
I got it from the doctor's office.
We should call the police.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Hi, I'm your neighbor. Are you okay?
No, I'm not.
Henry, get me a patch.
I don't think it's a good idea.
Give me the patch now!
It looks like it could be interesting. It could be the sort of crime drug story that could have the right amount of drama, the right performances that carries it through. Alex Wolff never struck me as necessarily a guy to watch in something like this, but honestly, when I saw him, I'm like, gosh, he really fits into this really well, and so I kind of liked seeing him kind of falling apart and just dealing with all of this. And I don't know, Imogen Poots I always find pretty interesting, and I've always loved Neve Campbell too, and just I wish that because didn't she kind of retire just to focus on her dancing for quite a long time? Isn't that what she was doing? I feel. At least that was my recollection. But I love seeing her and stuff, and I'm like, there's room for this side of Neve for me now, and I would love to see more of her coming back to the screen. So I'm interested in this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think the cast, there's some potential here, and doesn't it say like in the blurbs, like the story about the current opioid crisis? We haven't touched into that in contemporary, terms lately. So it's tackling something that's still going on. It's fallen off the radar. But I think that's unfortunate. I mean, that's still a crisis that needs to be handled, and everyone's forgotten about it. So I think this is a nice reminder of something that is still a struggle in this country right now. Yes, I agree. It's going to be a tough watch. I love stuff like this. It's going to be a character piece. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be gritty. Not pleasant, but one that, I'll look forward to watching this one. Definitely film board potential.
Speaking of Alex Wolff, he's also in Bad Education, which I believe we had as a trailer pick, and that is, I think, has already dropped, or at least dropped this weekend. Maybe drops this weekend on Netflix with Hugh Jackman and Allison Janney.
I think it did. Yeah.
Was it Netflix, or was that an HBO one? That
maybe
was
it was HBO
now, right?
Oh, maybe it was.
Yeah.
Sure.
Either way, internet. And you can see that it's getting great reviews. It's a 7.3 on IMDb. It looks really, really great. So, so there you go. That's mine. I'm excited about it. The end. Love, Mom.
All right, it's time to re-rank some movies on our flick chart. We rank every week, and this is just a way to shake it up a little bit. So we're going to do that starting now. First up, Silver Linings Playbook or Certain Women.
Silver Linings Playbook.
Silver Linings Playbook. What a movie that is. Day of the Dead or The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Numi. I will say Dragon Tattoo. Silver Linings Playbook held steady at 25. Forgot 25. To say that. And Dragon Tattoo held steady at 190. That's because it's so good.
So good. You don't have to tell me.
Well, you say that like you're surprised.
I'm pleased.
25.
I'm pleased. That doesn't surprise. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled.
Oh, okay. That's better. Field of Dreams or Videodrome.
Videodrome.
Field of Dreams. Are you really picking Videodrome? It's baseball, Ray. I swear. I have to say that every time this comes up now because I feel like you forget how great that movie is.
You know what? I'm going to give it to you just because I'm so hopeful that Under the Cherry Moon is going to come around.
Oh no! All right, Steve. You haven't seen Videodrome because that's in your Cronenberg.
Yes, exactly.
I know. All right. Well, Field of Dreams had a little bump from 277 to 235.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's fine.
Next, we have Thief or The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Benjamin Button.
Huh. I feel like I'd probably say Benjamin Button, but I'm actually leaning toward Thief this time.
Of course you are.
Steve, do you have any say on this?
No, because I still haven't gotten around to seeing Thief because it was on Hulu for a while and then it disappeared. So I got
That feels like a Michael Mann movie that you would have seen. I'm honestly surprised.
Yeah, and that's what you say every single time. And it just reminds me of like, I know. Even my brother was like, how have you not seen this? I'm like, I don't know. Leave me alone.
That needs to come when movie theaters open again.
Beef.
They need to have that so we can go watch that playing down at the whatchamacallit. At the
Draft House?
Yes, Alamo Draft House.
Oh, okay.
I'm blanking on theater chains now
because they're all out of business.
That's right. There's no such thing anymore. I love Benjamin Button, but I am going to say Thief, and so we're going to have to go with Matt on this one. 1, 2, 3,
scissors.
Nice. Benjamin Button takes it, and it held steady at 148. Look at
defensive play.
My favorite year or Requiem for a Dream. Oh, I got to go Requiem
for a Dream.
Steve, you have not seen My Favorite Year?
No, I love My Favorite Year. I still haven't seen. Still haven't seen Requiem for a Dream because
what?
Yes, I know because I don't know. I have Aronofsky issues.
Steve, even I
feel like that is one you would not have issues with.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, to me, like a perfect representation of what Aronofsky could do.
Yes, I know, because so many of the other ones, and so I'm like, do I just go through like, oh, it's going to be, I'm so disappointed in the end. So I just got to get over it.
Well, Requiem held steady in spot 19 on our chart. Next up, The Game, More Fincher, or We're No Angels, a wonderful little Christmas movie. I am a big lover of The Game, so I got to go with that one.
All right.
Get no help from me on this one.
You haven't seen We're No Angels, huh?
I really enjoyed We're No Angels. I'm going to go with The Game, even though I had significantly more problems with The Game this time. I know. Shut it. I'm significant.
Pete, that's what we're getting you for your 50th birthday. We're going to get you The Game. We're going to do that to you. We're going to get Sean Penn and Michael Douglas, and we're going to just game you up.
I'm going to climb straight to the roof and jump. Just get it out of the way.
Right away. Well, Game held steady. Next up, Viridiana or Alien. Oh, Alien for sure.
Yes.
All right. Next up, an Alien held steady in spot 21. Next up, from our recent John le Carré series, The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, or from a film noir series a long time ago, Touch of Evil, Little Orson Welles. Ooh, I got to go Touch of Evil here.
Touch of Evil.
Yeah. Steve, you have not seen one of these. You have not seen Spy Who Came In From the Cold.
I haven't seen either.
You haven't seen Touch of Evil?
It's on my list of shame. I know.
Your list of shame is so much bigger than I ever realized.
Wow.
Working on it.
Oh, Touch of Evil held steady in spot 17 on our chart. Next up, oh man, these are tough today. Do the Right Thing or The French Connection. Oh my
Oh, wow. Well, I'm going to say French Connection, but not without strong regret.
Yeah, Mookie's looking at you.
But at least he's looking over me.
I'm gonna say French Connection also, but
that is
holy
so tough.
cow.
Yeah. Now,
Two great films.
Okay.
French Connection held steady spot 72 on our chart. Next up, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid or Casablanca.
Oh.
Jeez. I'll say Casablanca, but seriously, Flick Chart.
Yeah.
Why are you being so mean to us today?
It's Casablanca, and that is kind of an easy one for me.
It's an easy one.
Wow.
Well, there's like 1 and 2, but I'm just saying Casablanca has been up there for so long.
It's sure. It's high on our chart. It stayed at spot 14, and I know. Butch is pretty high.
Butch is also very high.
It's probably in the 20s.
All right. Do we dare do one more, Andy?
Yeah, I guess we go. Autumn Sonata, also from our Ingrid Bergman series, or Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Oh, that's an easy one. Mr. Smith, please.
Yes, Mr. Smith.
And Steve, you have not seen Autumn Sonata yet, have
so
you?
we make that easy.
Well, Mr. Smith is really high, and it maintained its spot at number 3 on our chart. That's right.
It's a good thing it didn't come up against Under the Cherry Moon.
That's right.
I'm waiting for that day.
But if it was 2001, I would have been totally fine.
Yes, exactly.
Totally fine. All right. Well, that's it for our re-ranks of the day. I don't think anything. I think it was just one movie that changed. Thief. No. What movie did change?
Oh, it was
I can't remember.
Something. It had a little jump at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like 3 spots.
Yeah. Nothing huge, but there was a jump in there. All right. Well, that's it for our re-ranking. We'll do more next week.
What do we do now?
Hold your breath.
Hold my breath? What do you mean?
The movie we're talking about on the show this week, we kicked off our Agnieszka Holland series with Europa. And I was not here last week. And so Pete and Steve, they decided, oh, you know what? He hides in a barrel. Let's make that an option. We had some other great options, Pilgrim's Progress Journeys, which I love those in stories, and Survivor stories. But no, everybody wanted to hear us talking about movies where people are hiding in barrels.
Well,
so that is the list we're putting together.
It happens
tonight.
a lot in cartoons, I think. And so I think, back here it just felt like, I've seen that happen a lot in kids shows and cartoons and things. So I thought it's got to happen in movies all the time.
Turns out that's not
all
accurate.
The time. All the time. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh dear. Well, Steve, you get to kick it off.
Yay. So I am going to accept the challenge thrown down by listener Nick Langdon to not include the quintessential hide in a barrel movie, The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, right? So I said,
I believe technically you can give that and Desolation of Smaug.
Oh, and Desolation of Smaug. Is it 2?
2.
Hiding
because they hide under all the fish to get into the lake town.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
There's 2.
Okay.
I'm surprised they didn't put it in the third one.
The secret hiding in a barrel trilogy. There we go.
All right, so you're not going with Hobbit.
No,
so what did you dare?
So what I dared to do is I dared to do what you do when it's the 21st century. You do some outsourcing.
You outsourced your list again.
You did this again.
I did it again. It was volunteered to me, and I'm not gonna turn away a helping hand. Thank you, Ray Delancey.
I'm gonna start
for
paying
your contributions
Fiverr to do my lists every week.
Because I was like, I got nothing. And I'm like, well, it depends what you call a basket or a barrel or a wooden container or something spherical that people hide in. So I'm going to start with Muppet Treasure Island because Gonzo and Rizzo are hiding in an apple barrel when they discover that Long John Silver is a bad guy. It's been a long, long time. See, this is the challenge. If it's not like quintessential key plot points that I recall, or it's been a long time, I'm like, I couldn't remember if they were in a barrel or not. Then you mention it, you go, oh, wait. Oh, yeah, I guess that did happen.
Yeah.
So
I don't remember any of that.
Exactly. So thank you, Ray, for Muppet Treasure Island.
All right. I have one that I feel definitely counts, and I'm very excited to use it, but I'm saving it for my number one because I feel like it's a perfect representation of this list. And if either of you steal it, I'm going to be very upset because I know I've probably seen this movie more than either of you have, if either of you have even seen it. So
okay,
I'm saving it for number one. We'll see
I
if it
think
gets
I've
stolen.
already stolen it.
Oh, great.
Okay.
All right. Well, for my first pick, I'm going with one that I think is... I think you can argue that it works. It's not a person that hides in a barrel. It is an animal that hides in a barrel. Technically, it's not one animal, it's 12. And it is because it is a barrel of monkeys. And it is in Toy Story. And
were they really hiding?
Monkeys,
were they hiding?
That's where they...
All the toys hide
Yes.
when Andy comes in, and the monkeys hide in their barrel to get away from
It's
Andy.
their home. They go home. Why won't you go in your home?
But they still have to hide. They still have to hide.
Right.
I love the fact that I get to use this because I love Toy Story.
Yes.
And just the fact that they included a barrel of monkeys and that they used the monkeys to descend from one story to the other was one of the most perfect things. I just absolutely loved everything about the way they used the barrel of monkeys in this movie. So that is my first pick, and I'm thrilled with it.
That is a
Toy
really
Story.
solid, impressive pick. I give you full credit. Hats off. We need more monkeys.
Yeah. It is a perfect pick, and it's a steal. It was going to be my number two. It's a hard steal because my list is sparse and cheating. So the first one that I will pick then is it's one that I think breaks the rule because I don't think you can actually say that there's so much hiding in barrels insofar as I believe they're actually singing in barrels, but they are in the barrel and they're covered, but it was 1931 and what goes on in barrels, you don't know, but it stays in the barrels. It is, of course, the Marx Brothers in Monkey Business.
More monkeys.
Ooh.
More monkeys.
Okay,
I
yeah,
didn't even make that connection. I should have done all monkeys this week.
Because you needed another restriction on this list to make it challenging.
Yeah, right. All right, Steve, what's next for you?
So I'm going to go with, the habit that I have of picking something that you guys already talked about on the show. And this one was fairly recent, and maybe it's not so much hiding, but, in Disney's Robin Hood, Sir Hiss falls into a barrel during the archery tournament and sort of is hiding there for the whole tournament.
Unconscious in a barrel. It's fine. It's the same.
It's fine. Yes, exactly.
It's not an empty barrel, isn't it? Full of liquor, and he gets totally rip-roaring drunk.
Yes.
I believe. Yeah, we had fun with some of those.
So
characters
I'm wondering,
when
are they going to
series.
change that when it's on Disney Plus? Since we didn't even talk about the Darry Hannah furry, hiney issue to cover over stuff, but drunk snakes are okay. Still, maybe we'll see. But
I bet Darry Hannah would love it if we start trending on Twitter. Hashtag Darry Hannah's Harry Hiney.
Wait a minute, I got to add that to the show notes.
Oh, man. We need more monkeys.
That's right.
Okay. For my next one, I am going with a... it's not so much a... I will say, I feel like it feels a little bit like Steve's pick, where somebody falls into a barrel. This is a really hard list. I'm just going to say this. I was tempted to start looking at other things, but I tried sticking with barrels when I could. In this next film, gosh, do I want to do this one? You know what? I'm going to switch. Because this is actually it is a little more of a cheat, actually, I think, but it's because the author of the script chose, when he wrote the adaptation, the novel adaptation, to actually change the way that the story ends. So the film is just an absolute classic, On the Waterfront. I love the movie. I think it's just an incredible film. In the film, Terry ends up having kind of this heroic end, and as he walks off of the docks and everything. In the adaptation, the way that what's the screenwriter's name? It's Schulberg. What's his name? Something Schulberg. I'm totally blanking on his name.
Oh, Bud.
Of course, Bud Schulberg. He changed the novelization to end with a much darker ending, where Terry, in fact, gets stabbed 27 times with an ice pick, and that gets dumped into a barrel of lime and left in the Jersey swamps. Oh, yes. Yes, take that, Kazan.
Yeah.
So there's a little body hiding going on in that particular example, which again you can only find in the novelization, but still.
You know, I actually went down that road heavily in my research.
Body hiding?
Well, the Breaking Bad thing. Like, is Breaking Bad really the only place where they dissolve a body in an acid in the bathtub? I was looking for it. Can you do it in the oil drum and the plastic bin? Like, all of that. I couldn't find any other movies that do that.
I have two that I'll tell you later.
Curse you. Well, the one that is an extraordinary cheat for me already is one that we've talked about before on the show, and that is RoboCop. Wait, hear me out. I know what you're saying. At the end, what's his name? The guy with the funny facial hair is driving the car, and RoboCop says stop and shoots him he's in the truck, and he goes into, what does he drive into? A giant barrel or vat of toxic waste. And he crashes into it, and it fills up the truck. It's a really big barrel. Looks like a barrel. It's made of metal, though, and it's what we would call a tank. But I'm going to call it a barrel.
And how is he hiding in it?
Well, he's not hiding. He's melting in it.
Oh, okay.
He's melting from the...
But
we didn't talk about that on the show.
What? We haven't talked about RoboCop?
RoboCop? No.
We've never talked about RoboCop?
No.
Wow, that's great. Good for me.
I'd be happy to.
Maybe we've just mentioned it so many times. How long have we been doing this show?
I don't even feel like we've mentioned it that many times. I'm like...
That's lunacy, man. Of course we've talked about RoboCop.
Welcome to this multiverse where you haven't talked about it on the show.
I'm searching the database.
What series would that have been in? You didn't do a Verhoeven series. You didn't do a...
We've been talking about doing a Verhoeven series, but it has not...
you didn't do a Peter Weller series. You didn't do a Robotic Policeman series. I'm trying to think
Note to self, get RoboCop on the list.
The Robotic Policeman series.
I feel even better now that I have RoboCop on my list. RoboCop and the giant knot barrel of guy not hiding in it, but he still dies.
Okay, well.
All right. Steve, final pick.
Since Pete just went off over there, I don't feel as bad. Because I had somewhere, I'm like, well, that's sort of stretching it. But this one, okay, I'm fine. And it's the first thing that came to mind, and I'm like, well, it's not really a barrel. She's not really hiding, but somebody's trying to find Marion Ravenwood when she's in a basket. And so she's squished into something small and cylindrical. So Raiders of the Lost Ark, you say basket, I say barrel. Basket, barrel.
You say tanker, I say barrel.
Yep, exactly.
Nice. All right. Well, for my final pick, I'm thrilled that I get to bring this up. I know I've used this in the past on some list, although I'll wait until Pete finally gets all the lists put together to figure out when I used this movie before. But I'm a big fan of the Flint films. I think that they're very fun parodies of the James Bond movies. And I love that Austin Powers chose to even continue its parody of spy movies by also including a parody of a parody. I think that was just really clever. Our Man Flint, I think, is just a hoot of a film, if I may use the term. And it's just so much fun and so silly, and it's about Derek Flint, played just perfectly by James Coburn, and who's an agent of Zowie. And in this particular film, all of his lovely ladies, he's got a whole slew of just kind of bombshells that he's always hanging out with. They get kidnapped, and he has to break into the enemy's. They get, for some reason I can't even remember at this point, but he has to break in to rescue them. And how does he get them all out? Technically, it's kind of like big, drums of chemicals and stuff, but it's essentially barrels, and it's essentially like exactly the Hobbit escape, where they all hop into these big barrels and they go floating out into the ocean, and a warship picks them all up as the enemy's volcano island sinks or whatever. So that is my final pick, Our Man Flint.
Well, that's a good pick. I can't find where you've picked it. I got nothing.
I know. I feel like I have. And I don't know. Maybe it's just in my head, but I feel like I've used
Do you remember that time we did RoboCop on the show, though?
Right? We're talking from the same multiverse, clearly.
My gosh. That movie is so much fun. I haven't seen that in forever.
So silly.
Oh, yes.
The two, that and in Like Flint,
yes.
It's just, that would be a goofy series to do, because they are just such fun movies.
I thought I was being cheeky. That's my third pick, is kind of a throwaway. I thought I was being cheeky when we talked about them saying you can't do the Hobbit, the whatever it was, Hobbit, and then I put Desolation of Smog on my list, and since Toy Story was taken, that's what I have left. So Desolation of Smog.
Can I just give you an escape? Maybe you should do the animated Hobbit.
Oh,
I was surprised.
No, that's great.
I'm like, that's an obvious escape from the thing.
No, I'm going to take that one. That was not even. Hey, I'm going to take it and own it as if it was my own. Hello, baby animated Hobbit. I will raise you and care for you forever.
There you go. Well, I just have to say, there's so other examples. You had asked of people getting dipped into barrels of toxic chemicals to be killed, and two of them immediately came to mind. One of which was on my backup list, and it is, of course, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Because of course, there's a giant thing of the dip, but he brings in a smaller barrel of it into the bar when he's doing it there. And the other one, and I'm going to have to look it up while we're going, because I cannot for the life of me remember it's Wild Things. No, it wasn't Wild Things. Or was it Wild Things? No, it was with Neve Campbell, though.
It was a Neve Campbell movie, of course.
It was Woody Harrelson. Oh, what was this movie? I have to go look now. Or maybe it was not Neve Campbell, but it was Woody Harrelson for sure in the late 90s. Palmetto.
The late 90s. Yeah, that explains
it. Was Elizabeth Shue. Elizabeth Shue. Yes, this is why no one remembers it. This was this strange movie that totally had the same Woody Allen thing. Or Woody Allen. I don't know where that came from. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I just wanted to put Woody Allen in some dip. Where they have them tied up and they're going to lower them into like a barrel of acid, and I'm like, it was so absurd. I was just laughing so hard when I saw that. So anyway, Palmetto.
Yeah, I
saw that
have
movie.
Definitely seen it. I know I've saw it because of the aforementioned crush on Neve Campbell. I do not remember any of what you're talking about. It's like it's a different movie.
Well, that's because no one remembers anything about Palmetto.
I was like, who? Directed by Volker Schlondorf.
Volker Schlondorf, who's done much more prominent films like The Tin Drum.
Right.
I don't know what he's doing with this film.
Woody Harrelson, Elizabeth Shue, Michael Rappaport. I remember it, but
Gina Gershon. Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
I saw it, but yeah.
Okay, good talk.
So next week we are looking at the film In Darkness, the next in our Agnieszka Holland series, and let's see. It's a Holocaust film. It is very Schindler's List-esque, where you have a person who has a group of Jews that he is now trying to save, and he's a sewer worker. And of course, where does he keep them? In the sewers. So it's a dark film, a lot of sewer stuff. I feel like sewers needs to be a natural thing on the list.
Do any of them hide in barrels to float out through the sewer system?
Thank God they do not.
Okay.
Maybe they should have. So let's see.
Sewer escapes.
Sewers.
Clearly.
Well,
is it just sewers?
I just think films in sewers.
Filmed in sewers. That's better. Oh, I've already got movies. That's good.
Is one of them RoboCop? Is one of them RoboCop?
Shut up, Steve. Okay, yes. So
let's see.
We have
We could just do Holocaust movies, but that seems awfully.
Yeah,
dark.
it's dark, and we spent weeks now talking about Holocaust movies.
We have interesting pets.
Yeah,
the girl
she has her
befriends
rats.
some sewer rats to be her pets, basically.
Interesting pets.
So,
I could go with that.
let's see what else. There is a lot of infidelity. There is what else? What else do we have? We've got,
and there's like weird public infidelity.
What about floodings?
All right,
because that sewer seriously gets flooded during that
great
rain.
floods.
So sewers, sewer rats, and floods. Well, I know it's not sewer. I know it's not sewer rats, but everything comes back to the sewers in this, whether it's the sewers, the rat, or the flood. But okay,
we'll just say, Steve, you spend an awful lot of time in the sewers.
Okay. 14 months in the sewers. It's just sex, rats, and flooding. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's right. That's pretty much true. Pretty much true.
Okay.
Awesome. Is that how you're putting it?
All right,
Flood, just floods or flood? What are you writing?
I was just going to write cinematic floods.
Cinematic floods.
Nice.
Is that too big?
No, I want it bold, Andy. I want it bold.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Bigger floods.
All right. Well, I'm sure we can get some 10 Commandments in there.
Outstanding.
So there you go. If you want to vote, then you need to jump into our Discord chat group. Discord is a free app. You can just go to our website and you can get over to Discord through that, and you can start jumping into conversations with people about the movies that we talk about on the show and movies in general. We also have the Marvel Movie Minute. They've got their own channel. It's just a lot of movie conversation. If you do want to vote, you do need to become a Patreon member, and that gets you access to the channels where you can actually cast your votes in these polls. And how, Pete, would they learn more about becoming a Patreon supporter?
Well, that's an incredible question, Andy, and very timely.
I only ask incredible questions.
This is the segment of the show when we're supposed to talk about that after all. And I will tell you that all they need to do is go over to patreon.com/thenextreel or thenextreel.com/Patreon, and you can join us for a few bucks a month. You can know that you're supporting the show, you're supporting us doing this show, and you get access to perks like watching live recordings of many of our shows. You can watch a lot of nonsense that gets cut out of the main shows once you hear them in the feed, because we screw up a lot, and that's worth hard dollars, cold dollars right there. And you get to join the very special members community in Discord. So there's the public stuff that you can get to. Absolutely, you're invited, but then you get even more stuff if you join Discord by way of becoming a patron. We encourage you to do that. And I have to say, by way of segue, Steve, before you talk about merch, we have a new product coming.
We do.
And I wanted you to be the first to know. I wanted to be able to tell you live what our new product is.
So that soon when people go to thenextreel.com/merch, there will be something new and exciting for them to purchase to put on their bodies or their gear or their domicile.
You know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to share my screen so that you can see it and we can record a live reaction.
Ooh.
Wow.
What do you think? What do you think?
I think I want a patient zero one of those.
Oh, yes.
These are face masks, non-medical fabric mask made from pleated polyester. Oh, they can say the next reel. They can say Marvel Movie Minute, but most importantly, they can say patient zero.
It's like COVID-19 happened for us. And that's horrible.
Awesome.
But it is true. Non-medical face mask. And actually, the masks themselves are non-medical, but they have a liner insert. So you can include a filter. And that TeePublic is going to support the medical community by donating one FDA-approved medical-grade surgical mask for every one mask sold to us. To Joe Nobodies.
Oh, I'm getting one, but I have to ask: is this the equivalent of shouting "fire" in a crowded theater by like walking into the grocery store with an "I am patient zero" mask on? I don't know.
I don't know if it's quite the same. Instead, you might get beaten to death.
Well, I'll have to report back after I get mine.
The risk.
Because I can't say no to that.
Unfortunately, the only news that I have about launch date is that they have been working around the clock, they say, to add these as quickly as possible and stock up so that they can begin to sell them and print them. I imagine that a lot of groups are excited about putting their logo on these masks. So when they come out, they're going to be they're going to go fast. So be aware of that. But we're very excited to be able to offer and wear our own COVID-19 non-medical grade face masks coming very, very soon.
So much fun.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us on this week's Saturday Matinee Show. We appreciate it. We appreciate you. And that's it. So have a great week. Stay safe, stay indoors, and we'll talk to you more next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Hondo.